Yo, that's what's going on with y'all today. You suggested I try out the Book of Three, which is the first novel in the Chronicle of Priadin series. I know absolutely nothing about this book, but that's never stopped me before, and it won't stop me now. Let's do it!
Hi guys, Editing Chris from the future here, and I just wanted to apologize that this review took so fucking long to come out. Originally it was supposed to come out about a month ago. I had it read, I had it recorded, and then my publicist called me and wanted me to do another edit, and whenever the person that controls whether or not your book sinks or swims contacts you, you kinda have to give it your full attention. However, I'm back now. Hopefully things can resume a somewhat more normal pace. Thank you for your understanding. Let's get on with it.
Okay, so this book is more than a little bit odd. Firstly, it's worth mentioning that the audiobook starts off with a banging flute solo that goes on for a while, and I was jamming to it. Then the author defends the fact that this book is definitely not a ripoff of Wales folktales, and should not be used as a reliable guide for tourists. I would love to meet whoever tried to use this book as a guide to Wales, because I cannot imagine they exist. So we're introduced to our main character, Tyrion, who wants to spend his days smithing fine blades, but instead spends them smithing horseshoes and taking care of a big white pig, and is known as a pig keeper. While it takes a book a while to get to this, the pig is allegedly very important and wise and can hold information. Don't know how or why the pig can know and explain things, but seriously big deal. So, that's why it's odd that the pig is kept in a town that holds, as far as I can tell, 3 people total. But our MC dreams of being far more than a pig keeper and being a hero like the legends of old. So far, so classic hero's journey. Anyway, something happens that causes all of the bees and the pigs to GTFO, and Tyrion, as a pig keeper, chases down the pig and almost immediately runs into our BBEG, the Horned King. This dude is some sort of half-man, half-deer creature that is a dark lord from the land of extremely vague backstories, and we don't really get to know anything more about him. He's evil and he wants to rule the world, brah. So Tyrion gets knocked out and rescued by a famous hero named Gwyndolin, who just so happens to be really good friends with both the really wise pig and the other 2 people from our starting town. Problematically, this makes the world start to feel really small. I mean, like, tiny. Like the whole world feels about the size of a Walmart supercenter. And it makes me question the history that someone famous like that can end up parting ways and starting up towns, apparently. Also, either they don't mention or I forget our MC's parents or family. He's a pig keeper who accidentally meets his fantasy hero and a BBEG while chasing a wise pig. Deal with it. So the pair of them run into Gertie, a strange half-man, half-animal who spies and sneaks, giving information to Gwyndolin for food, but is shown to be something of a coward. Anyhow, they swiftly end up being captured, and Tyrion is freed with the help of an evil witch's niece, who wants to not be raised by an evil witch bitch, thank you very much. This girl is actually pretty interesting, because she's shown to be talkative, inquisitive, curious, a little clever, and capable, but can also be brash and quick to take offense, or even can be condescending from time to time. She's like a full character, and it's good to see. Now, none of our heroes are exactly one-dimensional, but she's probably the first one who feels complete as a character. Anyway, she helps him escape, and along the way accidentally rescues a bard who used to be a king and has a magical harp that snaps strings whenever he lies, and his character makes me laugh. He's pretty cool, and just the idea of a king who preferred to try to become a bard even though he totally sucks at it is actually pretty amusing. Anyhow, Gwyndolin is presumed dead, and the group ventures on, finding Gertie before they are attacked, and the animal man gets seriously injured. Then, in a slightly dark twist, everyone minus Tyrion decide that Gertie would be better off dead. But Tyrion says no, eventually helping save Gertie's life, which makes him grateful to Tyrion. They travel onward and accidentally stumble into a hidden town of dwarves who are known in this land as the Fair Folk. Now, look, I get that not everything in fantasy has to be Tolkien. I get that Santa, Rice Krispies, and the Keebler Elves were all rocking before Lord of the Rings. So, when dealing with fantasy, you're free to, well, fantasize, but asking us to think of the dwarves as the fair folk is just very off-putting. It might help if they didn't act exactly like dwarves in most other ways that you would stereotypically think of them, but then I would say why not just name them something else and start from scratch. Anyway, they impugn the dwarf king's honor until he gives them supplies, weapons, and, oh yes, the magical wise pig that up until now could have been anywhere in the world, but got washed downstream into the dwarf city somehow. Pig thus gained, they move forward and are soon set upon by the Horned King, and battle happens. Gertie, who up until now was a coward and a weakling, turns all Spartan of Greece and starts kicking ass, while the bard/king gives orders and instructions. Which I actually like, because hey, he was a king, and should therefore know how to direct troops in battle. Anyway, Tyrion starts to run off and secure the magical pig, and he's knocked out, and Gwyndolin, guided by said magical pig, uses the true name of the Horned King and a magic sword to kill him. Now, as weird as this sounds, it does mean that Gertie, of all our characters, is the only one who actually has a significant arc in the first book. And yes, I say first because this is a series. However, most of the rest of our group ends up with only a few nudges from where they started. Now, maybe this gets better later on, but in this novel, it actually feels more like Tyrion is guided by the plot rather than guiding it. And ironically, he ends up becoming a bit player in his own story for the first half or so. While it's a bit of an insane ending, the book is full of weirdness and conveniences time and time again, so I suppose one could almost liken it to a frog in a boiling pot of water, even though that science has proved that myth is total bullshit. Anyway, I suppose it comes down to, can I recommend the book? Well, honestly, it depends on the audience. Timeless classic of heroes and villains it ain't, but it could actually be a fun read for some older children or teenagers who are trying to get into reading. That being said, reading it now, it comes up a little short, and as weird as all get out. But while it's certainly not making it to my best of list, I had fun with it, and I don't know what more you can ask of a short story, really. My personal score is 5.5 out of 10. Please bear in mind that a 5 is a middlingly average score, so this is certainly not bad, but not all that impressive either. The book really could have done with a bit more fleshing out and some more world building, but was certainly not bad, and overall I enjoyed it. I do think it makes the rest of the series worth a read, but there's a lot to be said for first impressions, and this was a touch of a letdown to my mind. So, let's go ahead and take a look at that bingo card. And to my slight surprise, we only actually hit bingo once. Have to admit, I thought it was going to be higher than that, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's all for this time. So if you have something else you want me to review, go ahead and leave a comment down below and let me know. Until next time, drink plenty of water, tell your parents that you love them, and stroke your mustache at night.